Okay, guys, so let me ask you, what would you guys think if this was a rock instead of a sandstone? Sandstone is a rock, but if it was a fractured rock. So as you guys know, groundwater is slightly acidic because it comes from rain and also from carbonic acid. So it can dissolve limestone very easily. So let's say that instead of having a very nicely held together sandstone, we have a fractured limestone. How is that going to affect the hydraulic conductivity, the porosity, and the cleanliness of the water?
Less clean.
Why is it going to be less clean?
Because it's breaking down limestone.
So it's going to be hard water, right? Hard water. But let's think about, and that's exactly right, what about the porosity? Since it's fractured, is it going to be higher or lower porosity? Higher, right? Because you're going to have these big caverns, like void spaces, right? What about the permeability?
Maybe higher?
Higher as well, right? Because it's just like having tunnels that are connected to each other. Now, how is that going to affect the purity? Because we've said that this gets purified by water trickling down through this porous limestone.
If there are like tunnels, it's not really getting filtered, is it?
That's exactly right. So if you have this fractured limestone, it's going to act as a really good porous and permeable aquifer, and you can see a whole bunch of water pouring out of it, but it's not going to have the filtering capability of a very held together sandstone or conglomerate. Did you have a question?
This might be a silly question, but is there ever a time where the porosity and the permeability will be different?
Yeah. So can the porosity and permeability be different? And this goes back to the example I gave of the balloons. Remember the water balloons? Yeah. So an example of that in nature is shale. So shale tends to have these bubbles that get trapped in it during its formation because this is very fine-grained clay and mud. So you can literally have bubbles, these holes that hold water, but they're all separated. Have you heard of fracking? Right? So fracking is this process of breaking up these shales to allow oil to flow out of it. So you have these shales that have a whole lot of porosity but zero permeability. So people have now fractured it, which is an environmentally deadly process really, to then remove the oil from it, to increase the permeability.
How does the oil or the water get into the pockets in the first place?
How does the water get into the pockets in the first place? I'm going to answer that in the next video.